live event from PHLV Radio.
Just like a friend from back home.
This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio.
PHLV Radio.
Hello, good evening, everybody. It's Friday night, and it's a glorious, wonderful Friday evening, and it's 9 p.m. here. If you're watching from the Pacific or in California area, it is Friday night, 9 p.m. Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat. Good evening. And if you're watching from the Philippines, it is Saturday at 12 noon. Happy viewing sa inyo. Magandang tanghali. I'm hoping you're having a wonderful lunch. And if you're watching us in different parts of the world, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is an exciting day today simply because it's a special day. So instead of us having a guest, what we're going to do is this is the feast day. It's Fiesta ni Saint Padre Pio, and he's a well-known priest, a prior priest, and we did two shows in different years, and I know a lot of you had texted and you want to see that show again. So what we have done, PHLB through Alam Mo Ba with Jush Andowitt, PHLB Radio decided we'll fuse both shows together. So you'll have even though you cannot travel because it's really I would say taxing, it's really a challenge to go to Padre Pio's shrine, because a lot of, especially our brothers and sisters who are Catholic, especially the devotee of Padre Pio, you either go to Libis, the Libis of Padre Pio's shrine, or you go to Batangas, which is another shrine, and some other parts of the world. But a lot of you are only seeing the replica of some of the clothing, some of the statues. So this particular two shows that we did for Alam Mo Ba with Jush Andowitt through PHLB Radio, we did an intensive of the shrine. So you will see the actual miraculous and incorruptible body of Saint Padre Pio. And this is to celebrate the feast of Padre Pio, which is today, September 23rd. And of course, in the Philippines, it was yesterday. And on the 26th, there's another celebration. So we felt that this is so timely to celebrate him through our show. So before we roll the tape, we are live right now on PHLB Radio Facebook page, and simultaneously, we're also live on PHLB Radio YouTube channel. So if you are not a subscriber yet, what are you waiting for? Please do like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our shows. And if you're using Alexa, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play PHLB Radio. And if you are subscribed to Amazon Fire TV, that is so easy, no problem whatsoever. All you have to do is log in and look for PHLB Radio channel. Then some people are also listening audiovisual through audio streaming. So we're also live and being streamed through different podcasts, namely Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And if you missed the show and you want to do replay of any of our shows, no problem whatsoever. You could watch all the shows of PHLB Radio, including two of my shows. We already created a playlist for you. All you need to do is go to PHLB Radio YouTube channel. Also, you could check our website, which is PHLB or www.phlbradio.com. So before we roll the tape, let me get a shout out first. I'll do shout out for Bandam Pinasarap. Hi, Bandam. I said good morning. Hello, Bandam. Maligayang panonood sa'yo. This is really, really nice because this is Padre Pio. And then Francis Ching, sabi niya, thank you for sharing this. Francis, I hope you could stay and watch, and happy viewing to you, because we fused two shows together, Padre Pio. So even though if you have not traveled and you have not seen the incorruptible body of the Saint Padre Pio, by just watching this particular show tonight, you will feel that you're almost there. and this might encourage you when everything is fine and everything is controlled now as far as the pandemic. You guys should travel and really see it firsthand, and at least through our little show, you could be part of that and be blessed. So without much further ado, we're gonna give you our visit, live visit, when we did it to Padre Pio's shrine in San Giovanni Rotondo, Italy, that we did twice already. This is the first show and the second show fused together. So enjoy and be blessed.
So without much further ado, let's start now the tour of Padre Pio of San Giovanni, Italy. Okay, to go to Padre Pio, and we'll show you that this is the shrine as you enter or as you arrive at Padre Pio. It is really difficult to go there. From Rome, you have to take either a private car or you take a bus, and then it takes like 4 hours to get to the church. And this is the inside of the altar. What you're seeing right now is really the altar where Padre Pio held his masses when he was still alive. And this is the how it is depicted and how it is right now. Yeah, you see the inside of the church, and yeah, it's very solemn. When we got there, it was so surreal. Not a lot of people were there when we got to the location. So, and it was difficult for us to find, because I was under the impression, based on the research that we did, that Padre Pio's body lies within that church, the original church, only to find out there's now a shrine built for him, and you'll see that. And it is outside of the original church, but it is behind it. Okay, and you'll see that. And as you enter this church, not the museum, but the church itself, you will see a display. May mga display po of the things that Padre Pio used, like the chalice, the cross, and a little history of his humble beginning and how he became Padre Pio. Padre Pio, also known as Padre Pio or Saint Pio of Pietrelcina, was an Italian prior, and one of the things that you need to understand is Padre Pio is one of the saints. There's only 2 of them that had the stigmata. Stigmata is when it is described like they carried the 5 wounds of Jesus. Yung 5 sugat po ni Jesus, 2 sa paa, 2 sa kamay, at isa sa side ng kanyang katawan. And they call it stigmata. Nag-manifest po kay Padre Pio. And the other saints, if you're wondering who's the other saint, it's none other than Saint Francis of Assisi. So now you're seeing several pictures and things, memorabilia that Padre Pio used during his time. Yeah. Padre Pio was born as Francesco Forgione, and he was given the name Pius when he joined the orders of friars of minor Capuchin. So a lot of people are saying he's a Capuchin priest. So like what I said, he was born May 25th, 1887, and he died September 23rd, 1968. Okay? And this particular shrine is located in San Giovanni Rotondo in Italy. Yeah, that's the other things, the chairs that he used. and then it's all encased, or it would be to protect that. And then that's the bed that he used, like you're seeing right now. And you see a lot of prayer requests are being thrown because it is right in a case. It's like a cubicle, but you can see that's the actual. They didn't really change much. They just encased it with glass, so at least they could preserve the things of the freshness of the things, and so at least it doesn't corrode as fast. Okay, and those are the different chairs, upuan po, that was used. Ito po yung kanyang mga, in Filipino they call it abido, or the outfit of the church of the priest that was used by Padre Pio. And this is now some of the books that were used by Padre Pio, some of his favorite books and his favorite things, that medallions that he used. And then we show you some shoes that he wore during his time. And then that's the study. So it's really, I encourage people, if you have the chance, to go visit. And now we're seeing now the mausoleum, where you would really find Padre Pio. As you enter, there's the depiction of like a Station of the Cross, and then it's really solemn. And a lot of people, especially the non-Christian who are doing the tour, they find the place kind of eerie. But for Christians and for Catholic, it is so solemn, and this is leading to well, they call it a crypt, but this is really where it's like a church, a mini church, but the only you would find would be his body there for Christians and Catholics to pay their respect. And of course, this is the famous statue, and that's the outside of that museum or mausoleum, where and I'm showing you some of the things, the behind the scene and the background of the museum itself. It's a beautiful day when we went there. Super ganda ng araw po. And then of course there's the bells that, especially during Holy Week, they rang those bells, and to commemorate that the mass is being held, and they have the 3 o'clock and the 6 o'clock benedictions. Yeah, and then this is the entrance. This is the entrance as you go in to, so everything is in Italian, and you just need to be friendly to find it, because you would be under the impression at first that the body itself of Padre Pio would be on the original church. But like what I said earlier, it was another building that was built behind that original church. Yeah, and this is the stairs leading to that. And no worries, but if you are handicapped or you're having difficulty in walking, there's elevator also for the taking. Yeah, that's the one that we showed you earlier. Yeah, that's how it looks. That's the hallway leading to the body of Saint Padre Pio. Yeah, so there's a lot of murals on both sides depicting the things that you would see on the way to the body of Padre Pio. Okay. See, if you notice on the very center, ayan po, that's where Padre Pio is rested. Okay, ayun po, and that's really his body, his incorruptible body, as we see it, and you'll see in a minute that we could go as close as possible. So if you've been to the Libis shrine, and that's how it is, but in Libis, it is a replica, but this is the real deal, guys. So this is Padre Pio as he, and it's interesting that once you're there, firstly, people are not. You could take pictures, you could take video, but I didn't see anybody doing selfie, including myself. So this is as close as you could get. So you could tell that it's like he's just sleeping, okay, and no retouch whatsoever. And this is really how it looks if you are there. And then yeah, so we took so many videos, so many pictures, and then this is the outside now. And as you could tell, it's already almost in the evening, because we got there at around 1 p.m. and then we stayed there the whole time. And this is the background. And then this is like we spent almost like 5 hours there, because the last trip of the bus to go back to Rome would be at 5 o'clock p.m. So if you miss that bus, then you have no way other than to spend the evening there at San Giovanni Rotondo. I would suggest, though, for people who would visit, to spend the night. It's much better that way, so you're not in a rush. There's a lot of restaurants and souvenir shops, and it's really a beautiful, quaint little place, the San Giovanni Rotondo. It's really, really beautiful, and there's so many things to see. Unfortunately, during this visit, it was a day trip for us, but moving forward, I would really definitely go back and spend the night, and hopefully soon. So I hope that, and that's the what we just shown you is the San Giovanni Rotondo Shrine of Padre Pio.
And now we're going to talk about my visit to San Giovanni Rotondo in Italy, of course, and how we get there. And this is the shrine of Padre Pio. Now, most of you would ask me, who is Padre Pio? Padre Pio is the very well-known saint that we talk about stigmata. Ano ba yung stigmata? Stigmata is the 5 wounds of Jesus. Remember, if for Catholics and Christians, Jesus was crucified and meron siyang 5 wounds, 2 on the hand, 2 on the feet, and 1 as a sign. So 2 saints lang manifested or are well known to have stigmata with them, and that is Saint Francis of Assisi and of course Padre Pio. Okay, so if it's a trivia question, there's only 2 saints who encountered or experienced firsthand stigmata. Okay, and then Padre Pio also, it's one of those na napaka-close sa atin because it's 1968 that he was canonized and became a saint. So that was only in 1968. Okay, we'll talk about that as we proceed. Now, what are the miracles of Padre Pio? He's the patron saint of healing. So those people that are sick or going through some dark things in their life, Padre Pio is the patron saint for that. And aside from that, he is considered the patron saint as well of where is that? Okay, he's considered the patron saint of patron saints of volunteers and patron saints for stress relief. This was kind of surprising for me because I didn't know that. So now every time you get stressed, I guess you just have to ask for Padre Pio's help. And then his feast day, yung kanyang fiesta, especially for Filipinos, it's always on September 23rd. And then he has the power. He did some miraculous results, and that was the power of prayer. And he's very famous for this phrase, meaning hope, pray, hope, and don't worry. So a lot of times, especially for us who are going to a lot of especially with the pandemic, and now that we're getting back to our daily routine. We encounter problems. Padre Pio would always inspire us to pray, you hope, and do not worry. Because for him, his advice is worrying is just a waste of time. Okay, before we continue, let's see who else. Oh, Edita Berdoro Lumongo Francisco. That's a long name. Is watching as well. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, a lot of people will be asking me, how do we go to Padre Pio? Ano ba yung mga ways of going to Padre Pio? How to get to Padre Pio? Padre Pio's shrine. Okay, this is the shrine where Padre Pio, you could find the body of Padre Pio. Okay, so my experience before we run the tape, or the VTR or the movie, this is my second time. So to be honest, the feeling has not changed. It gives you that surreal feeling of being blessed, being holy, and being within that zone of that all you want to do is see him. All you want to do is talk to him. And a lot of people say, well, but you're looking at a dead body. Yeah, but this one is incorruptible. And you could see it. It's not like some of the people said, is it wax? No, it's the real thing. And it's still intact. I mean, nothing it's not deteriorating. It's not rotten. And at the end of the day, what you see in this video is exactly not even a replica that you have, or especially the Filipinos back home, you would see a replica of that in Ibis and also in Santo Domingo and Batangas. This one is the real deal. And you've seen that partly last couple of months ago when we did Padre Pio's Shrine, but this time we'll go deep into how to get in there, how to go to church. Okay, let's roll VTR on so official see the things that we are talking about. And it's going to be an interesting tape. So how to get from Rome. We start in Rome to Padre Pio's Shrine. And there's a couple of things you could do. You could do it by train, by bus, by car, even by airplane. And of course, you could have the best way that I did. That's why you're seeing the background right now. We took the train. The train is the most, for me, it's the most convenient. Of course, nothing beats the car. But of course, if you're a visitor, having a car or a rent-a-car would be kind of expensive. So your best bet, which I recommend, is taking the train. The train, you could take the train from Roman Termini, which is really the train station. You could take it in Roma Termini, and if you buy the ticket 1 day prior to your trip, it's only 37 euros. That was my mistake, because what I did was we purchased the ticket the day of our visit, so it cost us like 52 euro. It is a premium price, but if you really want to go there, I suggest buy your ticket from the train station, Train Italia, and that's the local train, just like if you're in the Philippines, it's the PNR version. What you need to do is you purchase the train ticket either online a day before or a couple of days before your departure. And there's two classes of train: the first class, which is kind of pricey, or the second class. The only difference is the comfort room, or we normally call it toilet in Europe. It's cleaner at the first class, and it's common on the second class. So that's, in my opinion, that's really the basic difference of being first class and second class. The first class is 20 euro higher than the second class, but if you purchase it ahead of time, it's not as expensive compared to the second class. So one tip, buy your train ticket online a couple of days or a day before your visit. Okay, second video. You could, like what I said, you could also rent a private car, which can be expensive, and then you could also do the bus, and you could do the car. Okay, now when you get into Foggio, that's your first stop. That is 2 and 45 minutes train from Rome. Well, it's 15 minutes to Rome to Poggio, but if you do the fastest one, it's 2 hours and 45 minutes, and then you take another 55 minutes or an hour by bus. And then the bus would really take you right to the footstep, like what you're seeing now on screen, to the footstep of Padre Pio's church, okay? And then the good thing is you're right smack in the church, and you can see that we that's the church where Padre Pio held all his masses and saw some people during his lifetime. Okay, now we're walking towards the chapel. This is a newly built chapel that was constructed specifically because there's so many people now going into the Padre Pio shrine. So the Padre Pio shrine is open daily and it's free. Okay, for now at least, it's free. And visitors can see Padre Pio church where he said mass, and he would see his cell that contains his books and clothing, and also the sala, the San Padre Pio, where he greeted the faithful. There's a gift shop also inside and an office, and English is spoken, which is really, really nice. Okay, now to accommodate the huge number, that's where you're seeing right now. The modern Padre Pio Pilgrimage Church was built in 2004. So you could see that behind the church, and that is right constructed behind the Santa Maria delle Grazie Church. That's the Delle Grazie Church is where Padre Pio held his mass in the past, or when he was still alive. Okay. The designer of the new church, which is the Padre Pio Pilgrim Church, it can accommodate 6,500, by the way, sitting down, and then 30,000 inside the church, standing, including outside. And the architect who put it together is Renzo Piano. And of course, there's the typical Station of the Cross. So we went there in the month of July, this July, so it was really, really hot. It's scorching hot. So you could tell a lot of people are just trying to get their way. I like what I said in the last past couple of weeks of our travel log, I really do not recommend for you to travel to Europe in the months of June, July, and maybe early August, because it's really, really humid. You could tell the passers-by, the believers and the faithful. We have people in stretchers, people in wheelchairs, because of Padre Pio's miraculous, or the miraculous things that happen to people when they pray and they adore Padre Pio. Juliet Marcos, hello, you're watching as well. Okay, so this is Foggia, and this is Pietrelcina or San Giovanni Rotondo in Italy, southern part of Italy. Yeah, so you walk from the gate towards the chapel. Okay. Now, while we're doing that, the sanctuary of Padre Pio of Pietrelcina is located, like what I said, in San Giovanni Rotondo, province of Foggia in Italy. And then Padre Pio, for those who are not too familiar, he was an Italian priest who was known for his charity as well as for the gifts of stigmata. Saint Padre Pio was advised famously, pray, hope, and don't worry. Saint Padre Pio was born Francesco Forgione on May 25th, 1987 in Pietrelcina, Italy. His parents were farmers, and he had an older brother and 3 younger sisters. And then, of course, 2 other siblings who died in their infancy. And it was said that as a child, he was very religious, but very sickly. And then, of course, he said he made a decision at an early age to dedicate his life to God. From his tender age, Francisco had a peculiar ability. Sabi nila, he could see guardian angels, he could speak to Jesus and the Virgin Mary. this was not something taught to him, but occurred so naturally that he assumed other people could see them too, because he was still young. He thought that speaking to the angels and to Jesus and to Mother Mary is the most natural thing to do. Okay, Francisco was sickly as a child. He suffered an attack of gastroenteritis at the age of 6. And then when he was 10, he had typhoid fever. So it's really, really sickly as a child. In 1987, after 3 years of schooling, Francisco expressed to his parents that he wanted to become a friar. His parents traveled to nearby community monks and for him to be endorsed to them. At the age of 15, Francisco was finally ready and entered the novitiate of Capuchin friars at Morcone. He took the name of Pio, and this was very, very interesting. Pio, because it's Francisco, right? But people would be asking, why Padre Pio? He took the name of Pio in honor of Pope Pius I, whose relic he often saw at his local chapel. So that's where he got Pio, because of the relic of Pope Pius I. Okay, that's a trivia that I didn't know prior to this, prior to all our research. At the age of 17, 2 years after, Brother Pio became extremely ill again and could only digest milk and cheese. He was sent to the mountains for better air, and when this did not work, he was sent home to his family. Na-reject siya. Amid all this, he continued to study for his priesthood. He was very, very adamant. So, like as you said, or as you're seeing right now, there's a chapel. This is not where the Padre Pio body is lying right now, but there's a chapel, and this is the sanctuary, the holy sanctuary, and then it's being shown on screen. To continue, on one occasion during prayer, a fellow monk, astonished, reported he saw Padre Pio levitating during one of the episodes. So he was levitating, meaning he was like not flying, but he was like levitate. He was kind of up in the air, and then one of the monks reported that. So of course that became like the talk among them, like what is going on with Brother Pio. Now let's proceed, and that's the chapel. In 1915, there was a world war, and of course he was asked to serve, but he was sent as well because of being sick. He was sent as well back to his place because he cannot be of service because he's always sick. Now, what you're seeing on screen, there's a lot of people when we went there, a lot of devotees, a lot of believers. So you could see there's stairs all over the place. This is the chapel. This is the Padre Pio shrine that is being shown right now. Now, on September 20, Padre Pio was hearing confession when he felt pain, and this is the episode of stigmata. When he felt pain in his hands and feet, he noticed the stigmata, the wounds of Christ, appearing on his hands and feet. The experience was painful, bleeding occurred. The wounds smelled of roses. That's what, remember, I mean, of course, we already had some experience being pricked, or we have seen blood. Normally, it's the smell is different, but in this particular case, the smell of the blood from the stigmata smells like roses, as reported. Okay, and then and although they continued to weep, they never became infected. Doctors who later examined the stigmata were amazed at their perfectly round shape. Because remember those blood? Remember sometimes when you get hurt, our blood is kind of liquidy and it's like it runs. In this particular case, the blood that the examiners saw when they were examining it, because of course it's a different experience for a lot of people, it's perfectly round shape. That's one of the miracles of Padre Pio. Okay, by 1919, word began to spread about Padre Pio's stigmata, and people came from far away to examine it. So, of course, there's some people and curiosity, like what is going on. Well, okay, while you're seeing right now on screen is the passage going to the body of Padre Pio. And there's some scriptures and there's some murals, and it's made of mosaic. This depicts the saints of Saint Francis of Assisi as well as Padre Pio, hand in hand together. So it's not really a comparison, but if both of them experienced stigmata, so I guess that's the reason why it was depicted on the different walls as you proceed towards the main chapel where you see Padre Pio as we speak. Lloyd Mystica. Hello, Lloyd. Lloyd is one of my I'm one of the ninong in his wedding. So hello, and how are you? And although to the wifey and of course to the two kids. Okay. Now of course once they had the stigmata, it was not entirely believed by the Vatican, and of course because nowadays, especially during those days, there's so many. They want to make sure that it's not a hoax, it's not fake, it's not. So a lot of people, and even they send people from. What they said is they send experts from the Vatican to examine what's going on, what is this stigmata about. They examine the wound itself, and they examine the blood, and what fascinates them is it did not smell blood, but it smelled like roses. Amoy rosas yung dugo na lumalabas, at for some reason, hindi siya gumagaling. Pero hindi siya lumalaki. It's just there, and you'll see that later. I have a close-up on how it looks later, because on Padre Pio. So that's the thing, and when they examine, the expert examine it, it's something they cannot explain. So that's why by 1934, the Vatican began to change its attitude towards Padre Pio, and he was again allowed to perform public duties. He could preach, and he was officially licensed by the church through Pope Pius the 11th. And Pope Pius the 11th even encouraged people to go see him. And then, of course, this is this is one of those that's very famous now. Like, he predicted, okay, when Father Carol Butala, remember, I think you guys familiar, especially if you're Catholic, he was the one, in 1947, they saw each other, and Padre Pio told him that one day, Father Carol said, he told Padre Carol, one day you will be the head of the church, or will hold the highest position in the church. Father Carol became Pope John Paul II in 1978. So that is so, I mean, you talk about prophecy. He was able to prophesy that in 1947, imagine 1947, when he met a young priest, he said to this young priest, you one day will be the head of the church. And lo and behold, in 1978, the same priest became the Pope, known as Pope John Paul II. And of course, we all know who John Paul II, John Paul II, because he visited the Philippines together with John Paul VI in another year. And then Padre Pio used his newfound power to open the hospital in San Giovanni. So when you go to the shrine, you'll see a big hospital on the side. You'll see that later in the later part of the video. Okay, so there's a long way, you see on the screen, there's a long way that you have to walk all the way towards, and of course, I'd like to see, I want you guys to the field. That's why I was doing it slowly, trying to capture the whole essence, at least, even though you cannot travel with me right now, or you cannot travel for some reason or another because the pandemic, or for some reason, at least through this video that we're showing through PHLV radio, you would have the feel, you would have the feeling of being there. And eventually, and I know by God's grace, you would be there too as well. And this would be, I know a lot of you that I spoke with, this is one of your bucket list, is to be able to go and visit Padre Pio. So you could either thank him, you could express your wishes or your petition, and at the same time see a miracle right in front of your very eye on this saint being in front of you, incorruptible body to this day. Okay? Now, Padre Pio died on September 23rd, 1968. So those people who are baby boomers, that was our time, the 60s, remember? His funeral was attended by 100,000 people. And then, of course, Pope John Paul II, who he prophesied to be the Pope, was the one who canonized him to be a saint. And he, again, like what I said, his feast day was on September 23rd. So that's a brief things about or the life of Padre Pio and who he is or he was and what he represents. Yeah, so see here we're still inside, and to be honest, the church or the shrine is so huge that I think my only comment is the signage was kind of small, that I got lost twice. It's like a maze, because I was thinking this is the way to Padre Pio, as you could tell. So I said, oh, wrong turn, so I have to go back again and then make another turn. And you could tell that hopefully you could sense that I'm lost here, because I went back to where I started. I said, where is that chapel? Where is the Padre Pio? Where is he here? Because I came back, and lo and behold, I went to the toilet instead. I saw the restroom, or for majority, you guys call it, comfort room. And then I saw another chapel within a chapel. I said, I don't see him. And this is my second time, you guys. I was here in 2018, and then now I'm back. So I was thinking, okay, did they move him again? And then, so here is the main chapel now, where Padre Pio is. Yeah. So you could see all the murals on the side of the wall, and then it's depicting different lives of, or different events in the life of Jesus, as well as there's different items of Padre Pio all over the place as well. So now there's a line. If you notice, the line is not very long. Yeah, so here you go. That is so surreal, you guys. That is Padre Pio. He is it. This is it, guys. This is not a replica, like what I said. This is not what you normally would see made of fiberglass, like what you guys have in Libis or in Santo Domingo in Batangas. This is Padre Pio. And I cannot express the feeling I felt during that moment. So now we'll come back again here, because there's a line and you could only spend a few minutes or seconds there. So what I did was I went into the line, got out, took my video, and then went back again to have a second look. So you'll see more of Padre Pio as we speak. But I really, really, really encourage all of you that given a chance, when you travel, especially to Europe, and when you go visit Rome, dedicate one day. It's really a day to go and see Padre Pio. This is one of those once in a lifetime that you'll see a saint, the body of the saint, incorruptible, that's lying there, and with all his miracles. I don't know, it's just like being there in his presence. Being there is a feeling that it's beyond words. You you feel so holy, and at the same time you start praying and forgiving everybody, being just in that zone. It's a feeling that I'm at a loss of words, to be honest. On this, you want to cry, and I did shed a tear. At the same time, you want to you just want to be there because he made it happen. And there's so many miracles that he had done for me personally, and I know for a majority of you as well, that there's a lot of people and said that Padre Pio did this for them. But this particular experience, I would really recommend it to everybody, given a chance. If you are able to travel, I know majority of you watching us or who will be watching us in the Philippines, I know you do go to Libis. There's a shrine in Libis. I know you guys make even a pilgrimage to the shrine of Padre Pio in Santo Domingo, Batangas. But when you have a chance to be in Europe, I highly, highly, highly recommend for you to see him, to visit him, and to see for yourself this wonderful saint, the saint of miracles, the saint of healing. And it's just like the feeling of being, I would say, trance. Yeah, so there you are. It gives you the peaceful, the calmness, the peaceful feeling, regardless of what's happening in the world. You just sit there, you just stare at him, you feel so relaxed, you feel so different, so holy, so kind, so blessed, sacred, everything. And this is him, guys. It's just staring at him, being at that place, being at that moment. It is so surreal. And I really hope and I pray. And you're seeing right now his hand, okay? And imagine him right there. He's just like sleeping. And this is not wax. There's nothing on it. This is just Padre Pio lying there. And what they did is they enclosed it in a glass container, so at least people would not try to. Some people try to through so many things, prayer requests. So they created like underneath that tomb of his, the glass tomb. There's a lot of paper underneath that where people put the request, and then that's allowed. And some people even put their donation and money in there as well. Yeah, so I'm showing you the chapel itself. And then right after you visit Padre Pio, there's a chapel fronting him, the tomb itself. And there's writing paper and pens where you could write your petition, and you could either drop it in a box, a petition box, all over the chapel, as well as by underneath the tomb. Yeah, here's my third round, because I don't want to be a burden to other people. So this is the third round I did to make sure that I captured and in all angles. And I took some pictures as well. So those people who are interested, I could post that picture as well. Or if you want your own, just private message me. I'll send you the whole roll of pictures that I took. There's like 50 pictures I took in different angles, different sides, and of course we'll share that with you. And I try to take a good look for everybody, since you are not able to be with me. So this is the best I could do, at least just through this simple gesture. I could share with you that experience. And they said that if you pray to him, blessings would come, miracles do happen if you believe. And of course, he is advising all of us, regardless of our problem, regardless of our situation,
to pray, hope, and don't worry. Because he said worrying is just a waste of time. And this is a close-up of Padre Pio. Now this is the outside of Padre Pio. And as you could tell, for those people who are so confused on how to get there, that's so easy. Once you see the bells, then you know that is the San. Yeah, see this now I'm showing you after going to the chapel, then we're going out of that. So I tried to get in, but of course because of the limited time, we are not. See, remember the hospital I was talking about? That's the hospital right there, and I'll show you a full view of that. Right beside the chapel, that's the Santa Maria Chapel. That's the San Giovanni Hospital that Padre Pio built during his lifetime. And it's still open, still operational, and this is how it looked, the facade of the church. I did not go in anymore simply because on the last episode of the Padre Pio Shrine Visit, I covered the inside of that church. And then, of course, if you want to view that you could always go back to YouTube of PHLV Radio and just look for Alam Mo Ba, and it's Padre Pio. And you see the other side of that, the church, all the other personal belongings of Padre Pio, the foyer that he used, the Bible, and the slippers, the shoes, the chalice that he used during his lifetime. Those were all covered in the previous video. I only took video this time of the shrine itself and a lot of footage on Padre Pio and the tomb and his body and his incorruptible body. Now, because of the time constraint that we have, because we want to do it like one day, I recommend, another recommendation, especially for our devotees, I would recommend for you to, instead of doing what I did for the second time, what I highly recommend is to spend a day. There's so many hotels or inns that you could spend time in Rotondo, in San Giovanni, and it would be best next time maybe, and that's a promise I told Padre Pio, next time I go there, I would do an overnighter and maybe do 1 day overnight there, so at least I could not be in a rush. I could spend time at the Santa Maria Church, at the same time spend time with Padre Pio, and then like bask in his presence and his glory. And I believe there's one small tip. I don't know if our good friend Johan was able to capture that the whole. We tried to do the whole facade of the city. It's nothing to worry about. It's very safe, at least for that area. I didn't feel insecure about or feeling fearful that somebody would mag me, because this is like a holy place, and what you're seeing right now is the facade. There's so many hotels and inns that's dedicated for Padre Pio, and the outdoor scene on the screen. Yeah, there you go. See, it's really, really, really highly recommended. Okay, so to summarize, to get into Padre Pio's shrine, you start from Rome. I recommend to take your ticket, your Train Italia, that's the local train, at any of the terminals. But if you are in Rome, there's only one terminal, and it's Roma Termini, Roma Termini, showing Rome. And then buy the ticket. It's €37 if you buy it ahead of time. You could do it there, or you could do it online. If you buy it on the day of your visit, it will be a premium price, like €52 as opposed to 37. And it's 2 and 45 minutes train time from Rome, from Roma Termini to Foglio, 2 and 45, 2 hours and 45. But it's really fast, Poggio is the third stop, so it's not gonna be. And there's screens all over the train. The train is really. I didn't take a copy or a video of the train because you've seen trains in the past. So it's just like your LRT, MRT train, other than you're seated and then the seats are cushioned. Now, from Poggio or Fugio, they call it Foggio, or Foggia or IO, you have to take the bus, the city bus, CITTI bus, and it's additional 20 euro on the way to San Giovanni. 20 round trip, it's 40 euros. Okay, but that takes another 55 minutes. So imagine 2 on 45. Say round it up to 3 hours plus 55 to 1 hour bus ride. So that's 4 hours just going there. Okay, then of course you do you pay your respect to Padre Pio and all. Then on the way back, you take another the same bus. They do like every hour. The bus would come because that's the last stop. San Giovanni is the last stop of this city bus. SITTI. Don't ask me why it's city bus and it's a city bus and city bus. You can take a round trip ticket for $40. So on the way, your last stop will be Poggio, which is the train station, and then you take another train back to Roma Termini, where you first started. Now, another tip that which was our mistake is when you go buy your ticket to Roma Termini on the way to Poggio, buy a round trip ticket. It's less expensive. At the same time, it guarantees you a return ticket. What happened to us is we only purchased one-way ticket. Of course, one way, and then we're thinking there's train and there's schedule every time. By the time we come back or we went back to Poggio, all tickets were sold out. So we waited we got the last trip back to Roman Termini, and we spent 5 hours at the terminal, at one of the cafe of the terminal in Poggio. Imagine that's really a waste of time where we could have, if we have done it intelligently, we could have purchased a round trip ticket from Roma Termini to Poggio and from Poggio to Roma Termini, and we could have been back to Roma Termini in a good hours where we could still explore part of the beautiful city of Rome. But too bad, we made a mistake, so that's why I'm sharing with you. Always buy a round trip ticket. It's best for you, especially when you are running out of time or you are under time constraint. And that's the best I would suggest, at least to avoid that problem. Now, as a whole, that experience, that's one of the reasons that I went to Europe, is because of all the things that's happening in the world with me and with family and friends. There's a lot of things I should want to be thankful about. 2, there's so many prayer requests that I wanted to tell Padre Pio. And then 3, it is important for me to fulfill a promise that I made to him 3 years ago. Remember the first video I showed you a long time ago? I made a promise then. It took 3 years for me to be able to fulfill my first visit. And then it took another 3 years to fulfill again. So it's like every 3 years, the promise is fulfilled. But no excuses. It is what it is. So 2 of the things that I was able to successfully do during my trip to Europe was a visit to Padre Pio, which is a promise fulfilled, and at the same time to find the original icon, the 15th century icon of perpetual health, the mother of perpetual health, which was shown already the last travelogue when we captured the essence and the different cities we visited in Italy. Okay, so that's basically what I could share with you on my trip to Padre Pio. I hope you enjoy all of it. At the next time that we will be together, we don't know yet. We'll schedule. I will show you the beautiful country that is Greece. Okay? And of course, we visited Mykonos and Santorini, and we have a lot of stories to tell you, a lot of travel tips that I will share with you. So for the time being, I will about to end this travel log, and hopefully that not only you enjoy what I share with you, not only you know more about Padre Pio, the man, well, the boy, the man, the priest, and the saint. Not only you were enlightened on some of the travel tips that you should do and avoid. At the same time, ways to go and visit Padre Pio either by car, by train, by bus, and by plane. And for me, the most economical for me, not the most fast, is by train. I'm gonna be an expert. So those people who would like a personal tip, and you are planning to go visit him, just ring me up, or email me, or PM me, and I'll give you more insights and some pictures on things that you could take with you to make sure that you would have a very productive and blessed day. I hope that this little video of ours, our show today, not only enlightened, not only brought to you Padre Pio, but also you were blessed just by his presence, and I always wish and hope that someday, one of these days, you would have that opportunity to be able to visit him as well, to be able to see him as well, and to be able to speak to him as well, because the feeling is one of those that would be so hard to describe. I am so lost of an adjective, because these are the moments in one lifetime that you have to be there. You have to experience for yourself. You have to be in that space and time, and then hopefully you'll have that experience. And I always wish that my experience would be as wonderful, as beautiful, as fulfilling as it was for me. And before I close the show, again, maraming salamat for all your support, especially for people who are part Team Live and Team Replay. I cannot express my gratitude more than a simple thank you. And those people who are constantly sharing our videos, our shows, these shows, as well as the other show. Again, heartfelt gratitude to you. Maraming salamat. And before I end the show, all I always ask and advise, it's really difficult, it's getting more difficult as it is to be kind. You can never go wrong with kindness. And I always believe in my heart that any act of kindness that you do to others, it will come back to you in so many ways in different times. And with that, looking forward to seeing you at my next shows tomorrow. Is Alam Mo Ba with Jush Andowitt. Oh, Alam Mo Ba with Jush Andowitt now. It's Dear Kuya Josh, Ate Jen. That's for tomorrow, and it's 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and it's 1 p.m. in Manila, and it's different time zone on wherever you are. And that you guys watch the replay. Maraming salamat po. Again, I wish you all the best. I wish you have a wonderful end of the day, a wonderful end week, and wonderful and blessed next week. And I wish you that God bless us all, that all your wishes and all your heart desire be granted. and for you to gain and to have the best of what life has to offer you, because we have only one life to live, and how we live it, that's really a choice for you and I to do. And with that, maraming salamat po, and good day to everybody. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Just like a friend from back home.
This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio.